You're watching Easy Way TV, powered by EasyWayNetwork.com.
We are live.
And this is what happens when technology does not work. We are live with Meter members for Easy Way and Easy Way Network. Jen Du Plessis is the Jen Du Plessis is the guest. Thank you for being here, Jen. I appreciate you making the time.
Oh, a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
And before we get into exactly what you do, I would love to start with what do you love? What do you most love about what you do?
Oh gosh, that's such a great question because I usually don't answer the question, what do you do? So that's wonderful. You know what I love about what I do is watching the aha moments and the lights come on when my clients get it. Right? So such a great experience for me. And I'm like, look at, they got it. Their life is changing. That's really what makes me happy. I love helping people.
What is it? What leads, first of all, where do people come to you when they meet you for a reason to work with you or learn from you? What are they coming to you with that you help them have an aha moment with?
Oh, that's a great question too. Yeah, what I do is I help successful businesses, right, who know that they're capable of doing more, but they're still carrying much of their business on their own, right? So they're carrying that heavy burden around. And so first what we do is we acknowledge what's working and what's weighing you down, right? And then we activate strategic, non-traditional principles that create real momentum and quickly, right? While I walk side by side with them every step of the way. And then ultimately they would achieve a business that scales with harmony, right? Harmony, loyalty and freedom, right? They have loyalty from their team and freedom from the everyday minutia, and a business that finally supports the life that they were meant to live. So they're bogged down. I get that, you know, a lot of businesses, what happens is that they, I help them become strategically hands-off.
Oh, so tell me more about that. Is that working on the difference between working on your business and working in your business? Is that along those lines?
Oh yeah, you and I talked about this too, right? We talked about this a week or two ago. So I have a motto in my practice, and that is to stop working in and on your business. And I'll talk about the differences. And now start living above and beyond your business. And so often what happens is we've all heard that saying, and don't work in your business, work on your business. But a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, and I would say it's a gamut, right? I work with entrepreneurs, and then I separately work with businesses. And so the business plan sort of gets done by entrepreneurs, right? And usually it's a number, right? Which I think is a limiting issue for people. I actually don't like goals like that. But they have a number and they come up with something, but then they don't look at it again. And so that was considered working on my business. Going to a conference, oh, I'm working on my business. Doing the administrative things, I'm working on my business. No, you're working in your business, right? Working on your business is developing your team and yourself, right? So that you can take the next step of working above your business. Rather than, you know, that 60-hour work week that you swore was going to be temporary when you started your business.
So with what are the biggest obstacles you see people facing when they come to you? What is it? Is it time management? Is it resources? What problems are they coming?
Yes. That's right. Yeah, it's prioritizing time, right? It's not time management because we can't manage time. But it's prioritizing, right? So making sure that we have priority management going on. Yes, sometimes it's resources, but we have access to resources. It's the choice not to engage with those resources. A lot of yeah, buts, or once I get here, then I'll get the resource. Yeah, but I don't have the money to get the resource. yeah, but it would take too much time, and my business is already doing really well at 20 million top line revenue, right? There's a lot of excuses that are involved in that. And then the second part, so yes, all of that, but then also there's a large chunk, not everybody, so a large chunk of entrepreneurs that just through attrition became entrepreneurs and may not have team building, management, and leadership skills. And that's holding them back because they don't want to be a cat herder. And, and so now AI is out and everybody's saying, well, I'll just have all my AI managers. Well, that's a nightmare because I've tried that too. And I'm not saying it's the only, I have some, but I've tried that too. You have to train them the same way you have to train a human being, right? So I think there's a nice combination between the two that can be really good. But to be a leader, to be a business owner, you need to lead somewhere. You need to lead yourself. You need to lead your team, your referral partners, your vendors. At some point, you need to be leading. And there's a large group of people that lack that. And then the last part is control, right?
Yes.
Give it to me, I can do it. I can do it faster. Just give it to me. I'll just do it. But then you're going to find yourself burnt out, right? And you'll find yourself in hustle rather than harmony.
And I know when it comes to solving problems and growing your business and getting above your business, mentoring is something that you are amazing at and you hold dear to your heart. Why is mentoring so important to people?
Yeah, mentoring, I'm not a coach. I find, in fact, my company is Kinetic Spark Consulting, right? Kinetic is movement, Spark is get yourself going, and it's consulting. I really find that I'm more in a consulting capacity with my higher end clients, more in a mentorship capacity with my midstream clients. But mentoring for me is, I've walked the path. I was in that hustle. I was in financial services for 40 years. I've generated over $400 million in revenue with relationships with 22 referral partners. Now I had peppered people in there, but I focused on those relationships, just 22 people to help me grow my business. And in turn, I was helping them grow their business. But I was in that hustle. I've walked those steps. And mentoring is someone who's walked the steps and can tell you, hey, as we're crossing a river, right? You're on this side and you want to go to that side. And a mentor can say to you, hey, this is going to be slippery. The water's going to take you fast. Hey, this part's easy. We can go faster. And that's what a mentor can do for you. And seeing people struggle really hurts. It really hurts me. It really does. You and I had this conversation, right? This is authentic. It hurts to see people struggle. And if I can help compress their success timeline through that mentoring, then I'm all in.
How do you create a successful mentor? If someone's watching right now and they're wondering, mentoring sounds great. What are the components of a good mentoring scenario or situation above and beyond just asking a bunch of random questions?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we do is we do a gap map. We start off with that because most people, when we talk about what are the gaps, where are you hurting the most? Where's your business not doing as well? Where are you successful? And a lot of times it's just like going to the doctor, right? And saying my knee hurts, but it's not the knee, it's the blood flow. And that's from a heart condition, right? And so when I'm mentoring people, I have a unique ability to mind map super fast and very well to see exactly where the problem lies. It may feel like it's in front of you right here, but the problem actually may lie someplace else. So we start with a gap map. And then go after the things that we can accomplish faster. Some of them are long-term, some of them are really quick, and they've been avoiding them. And we say, hey, let's just go do it, and let's get that done. So the thing is, I find that there is no key to success. Okay, people say it all the time. Key to success. There's a book called Key to Success. There's no key. It's a combination lock. And what mentors do or should do is help you decode, crack the code to the combination that works for the DNA of your business and the DNA of your experience, your wisdom, your credibility, your education, whatever it may be. and I think where most mentors I have been working with as a student myself, right, is that they have a path that everyone has to go on. And for me, I customize, I design. I'm known as the business scaling mentor. I mean, a business scaling architect. And so if we look at architecture, and my degree's in architecture, look at architecture, we customize, we design, we build, right? Then we add the accessories. And most people are focused on all the accessories first. So the sequencing is off, but it may not, it's important that the sequencing matches you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
There's a sequence, but sometimes other people have, maybe you missed the step and we have to go back.
Talk more about that. How do you know when you have well, first of all, how do you know when you're off course with the sequence?
No revenue. That's the number one way, right? Like there's nothing coming in. There's no new clients. You're like, something's not right, right? Something's not right. It could be, and I hear this all the time. I coach a small little program called the Golden Mic because I'm a podcaster, right? I've been podcasting for 15 years. And, what everyone is telling them is, hey, you need to be on a podcast to have exposure and credibility and influence and impact. But there's statistically, that doesn't work for anybody. What we have is a gold rush right now with podcasting. Everybody wants to have a show and be on a show and all of that. But the thing is, if you look at the gold rush, there were thousands and maybe millions of people rushing to the gold rush, sifting through, trying to figure it out. And only a few were striking gold. Oh, we're talking about this on St. Patty's Day. How cool is that, right? But very few are striking gold, and that's because they lack strategy. They lack, a plan for how they're going to get there. So exposure by itself is an illusion. Yes, you get exposure, but the question is, does it bring revenue in? So maybe you're shining your flashlight in the wrong direction. Maybe, I always say this, you're eating soup with a fork. Every day it's like yum, 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 but you're not getting full, your pockets aren't filled, you're not feeling fulfilled, you're not being able to help other people because that sequencing is off. You've bought into shiny object syndrome, which is simply a cry for help, SOS, right?
So, what kind of steps do you take with people?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
How do you turn exposure into revenue? What kind of steps do you take with people?
Yeah. Okay. So, number one is a lot of people say, hey, I'm looking for stages. I'm a speaker and I'm looking for speaking opportunities, and I look for them too. And I'm always looking for them. Right. But I decided that, if I wanted to have a platform, I'm going to create my own platform. Right. So, there's a couple things that I do. One, podcasting. I have 3 podcasts. I have a television show. We're recording our next season at the end of this week in Temecula, California. It'll be season 3. So yes, exposure, but that's just the beginning. It's almost like, so what, now what? So what, you were on a TV show. So what, you were on a podcast. So what, you stood on a stage in front of 200 people. Now what? How do you, it's called my ... method, right? My students could say that. That's Lady Jen's ... method. A lot of people will say, I'm going to go speak at this event. Thank you very much. I got the applause. I came off. People are like, oh, it's really great. It's really great. So what? Now what? What are you going to do next? What ... are you going to do? So in the podcasting space, I really hone in, as I mentioned previously, on the relationships that I create with the host or my guests. Right? We focus on those relationships. And to this day, I have now identified 48 different ways that people can collaborate as business partners, right? As referral partners. Most people, and I've only found one person who could tell me 7 ways, right? I'm not saying I'm perfect at all. I'm not saying I know it all. I'm not saying any of that. It's just that I look for the ... And so every encounter, every connection, I'm looking for all those 48 ways. Could we do this and could we do that? We don't have to do 48 different ways, but could we do more than the norm, which is, hey, you be on my podcast, I'll be on your podcast, we'll do a swap, And then if you could be in my book, that would be great. And then if you could mail out a bunch of emails because I'm having an event.
Mm-hmm.
And
Nice.
stops. And that's where it stops, right? So what if we could go deeper, 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 deeper? That's where the gold is. That's where you're going to strike gold, is with those relationships, as I did with 22 relationships, creating $400 million in revenue. That's where you're going to create it. So I'm going to tell that to my business owners. I'm going to tell that to those who are podcasting or podcasting. I'm going to tell those things to them, is that we can take all this fun and this exposure and these meetings we are all on and these joint venture things and affiliates, and we take all those and let's create a revenue stream from it, and not just the superficial yakking and talking and one and done conversations.
You obviously love what you do. You've done some amazing things. I got to ask, how did you get started? What's the story there?
Yeah. Well, the story, and I'll say the short version of it because I know we're getting short in time. The short version is I'm one of 36 first cousins, and all of us had a nickname, and mine happened to be Jenny, who ain't got a penny. And I didn't understand it. I used to carry a penny in my shoe until about 12, 13 years ago. I carried a penny in my shoe because I wanted to feel it, to remind me that I'm not Jenny who ain't got a penny anymore. But then I got rid of it, saying, well, that was kind of silly because it was reminding me, and I'm past that now, right? But I was called that, and my uncle said to me, you know, Jenny, you're going to be just like your dad, an alcoholic. You're going to be just like your mom, a verbal abuser. You're going to be poor because they're poor. You're going to smoke cigarettes because they smoke cigarettes. You're going to be all those things. And I set out to prove them wrong. You know, later I understood it, got it. He would say, you don't have, Jenny ain't got a penny. And I would hold up, I got a penny. But I set out to prove them wrong. And it just became a snowball effect, right? And wonderful things. You know, I was runner-up Miss Colorado. I was a state champion in tennis. I played flute and piccolo in the Colorado Springs Symphony in high school, and there was nobody else who did that. I was pre-med to be a cardiologist. I have a degree in architectural design and construction engineering, right? But then I moved that into business, and I had to be the best of the best. Like, how come I'm not number one? Why is not everybody this, right? And so I went into the hustle. If that sounds familiar to you listening, you get it, right? And so I got in that hustle, and it became my DNA, like proving. And then one day I'd had enough of it. And I said, I'm done. I'm done doing all this. I'm good enough, right? I'm done doing all this. I have management and leadership skills. I have unbelievable sales skills. And I have a fun personality, right? I'm not too serious. And when it comes to business, I am, right? But I'm not too serious. And, you know, and I love charity and giving. That's how I was, you know, honored by being knighted. I love doing all these things. Why don't I start doing some things for me instead of everybody else? Because everyone tells you have to network. You have to be on a podcast. You have to do follow-up. You have to write thank you notes. You have to call people back in a second. You have to do all these activities that is an accumulation of what we all learned, right? That's that DNA that we independently bring to our businesses. And we're taught all these things. And I started looking at them and saying, that's not necessary. I can do that, but not the way they do it. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. And I literally started going into leaving hustle and started heading into harmony. Now, I first wanted harmony, but then I said, no, I actually want, well, here's what happened. I would type harmony and I would type hard money. And I thought, sign from God, right? Harmony. I want to be in harmony, but I also want to be able to make money. So I'm going to find a better way. I'm going to crack the code. Because their definition of success is not my definition. That's why I don't believe there's a key, right? And so I established these 5 strategies of clarity, community, right? Credibility, communication, and consistency, right? That we have to do all these actions consistently to get where we want to go. And the result is $400 million, right, in revenue. The result is I have 4 businesses. The result is I now love life. I'm living my legacy while I'm building it, right? Oh, I built it. And I've had financial freedom for several years. And if you're watching this, you see in the back, I have horses, right? We have 6 race horses. We own a vineyard. We have, you know, a very robust real estate portfolio. But none of that could happen, when I was looking down in the hustle and just focusing on in, on every single day. I said, wait a minute, hold on. There's an above and beyond, and your beyond is different. Everybody's beyond is different. Your beyond should not be, I have to have $1 million. I have to have $10 million. I have to be well known. It's what is your beyond? My beyond is being able to right now, as soon as we're done, if I need to go and take care of my grandkids and help my family out, I'm gone. My beyond is if I'm done with this call and I feel like going and dancing because I'm a competitive ballroom Latin swing dancer, there I go again, overachiever, right? It's still in my DNA. I'll go dance for 2 hours. If I want to go to the vineyard and test some of the wines, I'll go to the vineyard. There's nothing that's trapping me in my practice. And I want that for others. If they want it. Yeah.
That is a beautiful way to close. And for people watching this, I love what you said. There's a lot of good strategies out there. When it comes to starting to create massive change in your life, if you were to say at least do this one thing, at least do this, what would you tell people to do?
Slow down so you can speed up. Right? Just slow it down. Back off. It's like a slingshot. Pull back, take a look at everything you're doing, and start eliminating things that aren't moving your business along. So that would be the number one thing. It's like slow down and look at what you're really doing. I have this process called finder, minder, grinder. List everything, and every time you do something finding to bring in business, list everything that you do to take care of your client for fulfillment, and list all the grinding stuff. And if you find that your minding and grinding list is way longer than your finding list, there's a problem.
Oh, and final question. A personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. What is it that you hope people say about you when you're not in the room?
That I have the biggest heart and gave more time than they expected. And and that I changed their business in less than a half an hour.
That is awesome. And if people want to find you online, where's the best place or places to go?
Well, all over the internet, Lady Jen Du Plessis. It's all over there. My website is ladyjenduplessis.com.
Thank you very much, Jen. I appreciate the time.
Thank you for having me. Take care.
And scene.
You're watching Easy Way TV, powered by EasyWayNetwork.com.